Welcome back to The Explainer, everyone. Today we're diving into a story that is, honestly, just as heartbreaking as it is profoundly inspiring. We're going to be unpacking Nancy Guthrie's unbelievable journey from deep, unimaginable tragedy to this profound, world-changing purpose. It's the kind of story that completely reframes how we look at suffering. It really shows us what it actually takes to transform pain into hope. Let's get right into it.
I want you to ask yourself something, and it's a heavy one. What would you do if you lost a child? Just thinking about it is devastating, right? Most of us would understandably never fully recover. But I want you to imagine the crushing weight of losing not just one, but two children, and to the exact same rare disease. Most people would spend the rest of their lives asking, why me? But as you'll see, Nancy Guthrie chose a remarkably different path, a path that literally made her a voice of hope for millions.
Section 1. A life interrupted. The shattered dream of a normal family.
So, to set the stage, Nancy and her husband David were really just dreaming of a normal family. They were living what anyone would consider a very happy life. They were picturing the birthday parties, the school graduations, the whole shebang, a future just packed with joyful memories. But then, in 1998, their daughter Hope is born, and just a few weeks later, doctors deliver a completely devastating diagnosis. Only 6 months later, baby Hope passes away. For Nancy and David, their entire world just collapsed. Every single day of those 6 months was an absolute battle. Every smile was incredibly precious, but it was weighed down by this agonizing knowledge that their time together was rapidly running out.
Section 2. The deepest heartbreak. A nightmare returns. The grief, as you can probably imagine, was just totally overwhelming. Yet Nancy really tried to hold on to her faith, believing there just had to be some meaning beyond all this pain. But then, after Hope's passing, they experienced something almost impossible to comprehend. Nancy became pregnant again. They prayed for a miracle, desperately hoping for a healthy child. But when the medical tests came back, the nightmare they were up against was zellweger syndrome. As we can see here, it's a really rare, severe genetic disorder. And the incredibly hard truth is that most children born with it simply do not survive very long. Their unborn son, Gabriel, had the exact same fatal condition as his sister, Hope.
So right during her pregnancy, they got the confirmed diagnosis. Nancy carried Gabriel absolutely knowing the inevitable future. I mean, imagine carrying a child knowing you're going to have to say goodbye. When he's finally born, they love him with absolutely everything they have. But tragically, just like his sister, he lives for only 6 months before he passes away.
2. Really let that sink in for a second. 2. That number represents the 2 infant children Nancy and David had to bury within just a few short years. It's an almost incomprehensible weight. It's the kind of profound, earth-shattering loss where most of us would just lose all hope. You'd understandably walk away from your faith forever.
Section 3. Wrestling with the why. Choosing to lean into the pain.
At this point, Nancy faced a really stark choice. The completely understandable path? Walking away from faith entirely and just letting the grief consume and destroy you. But Nancy actually chose a completely different path. She made this deliberate decision not to let grief have the final say. Instead, she started searching for answers. And I don't mean those comforting cliches or easy little platitudes people tell you. She wanted real answers. She spent literally countless hours studying scripture, choosing to face this massive trauma head-on.
So she found herself wrestling with life's absolute hardest questions. Things like, how can a loving God allow such tragedy? Why does suffering even exist at all? And practically speaking, where on earth can hope be found when absolutely everything seems completely lost in the dark?
Well, slowly, out of all that intensive study and deep internal wrestling, she discovered this incredibly profound truth. Look at this. Pain doesn't have the final word. Hope does. This single, powerful realization completely shifted her perspective. It became the bedrock foundation that shaped the rest of her life, and literally everything she would do next.
Section 4. From pain to purpose. Building a ministry of hope.
The amazing thing is, Nancy's healing didn't just stay internal. She took that immense, crushing suffering and actually turned it into action to help other people. First up, she wrote her book, Holding On to Hope, where she shared the raw, unfiltered lessons she learned. Second, teaming up with David, they created these specialized ministries and retreats. And finally, they actively sat with grieving parents, mothers and fathers who were just completely broken. They offered real comfort because, well, they truly understood that specific, piercing kind of pain. And wow, the response to her work was just incredible. Letters started pouring in from all over the world, from parents who had lost children, Yes, for sure. But also from families facing cancer, folks navigating super messy divorces, and people struggling with severe depression. Her book struck this massive global chord. And it's because she wasn't speaking from some dry academic theory. She was speaking from the raw, lived experience of walking directly through the fire herself. Because of that, her words just carried this unique, totally authentic power. Section 5. Finding your own hope. What Nancy's journey teaches us.
So why does all of this actually matter for us today? Because Nancy's story isn't just some documentary about loss. It's really about what comes after loss. It's about discovering strength when you think your tank is completely empty. How can we apply this kind of insane resilience to our own moments of hardship? Well, Nancy's story shows us that sometimes the deepest wounds literally become the source of our greatest purpose. Pain might change the trajectory of our lives, absolutely, but her story proves it doesn't have to define them. Two tiny lives, Hope and Gabriel, were here for such a short time, yet their impact continues to touch millions today through their mother's work. It just goes to show that the people who suffer the most can sometimes become the people who inspire the world the most.
So, I'm going to leave you with this final, thought-provoking question. Could you find hope after experiencing a tragedy like Nancy Guthrie's? I know, it's a heavy question, but it's one that challenges us to look at our own suffering a little bit differently, to realize that even in the absolute darkest moments, there just might be a path forward to transform your pain into hope. Thank you so much for joining me today.